So this past weekend, I went and saw the new Mickey 17 movie by Bong Joon-ho. I really enjoyed the film, and I think a big part of that has to do with me really enjoying silly performances. Of course, when I say that, I'm thinking a lot about Mark Ruffalo. He plays a fascist dictator who might be somewhat resemblant to someone you know. But regardless, I think he's really good at delivering these kinds of performances. I mean, Poor Things came out about a year and a half ago, and he was great in that too. It got me thinking a lot about these kinds of performances though, because they really are a dime a dozen. Not everyone can pull them off, but even when they can't, they're still very hilarious and memorable. So in this video, I've gathered a list of some of my personal favorite silly performances. Some are good, some are bad. I got the best of both worlds here. So to start off with a couple of good ones, since we're on the topic of Mickey 17, I want to talk about Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is a horror film that came out in 2019, and it has some very hilarious scenes. The Lighthouse features Robert Pattinson losing his fucking mind for the entire duration of the movie as his character is stranded with Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe also delivers a chaotic performance along with Robert Pattinson, and you'll get a lot of scenes where they get drunk and they just argue the entire time. It's really invigorating stuff, and because it is a horror film, it can add to the unnervingness of it all, but if you've seen it a few times like me, you really just see it as a buddy romance at this point. It's the best film Robert Eggers has done, and it's really thanks to these performances. Along with Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse, I think another really great performance that he delivers is in The Boondock Saints. And this is a really special one because I never think about The Boondock Saints. I've seen that movie once a long time ago, so I can't really explain the context for a lot of it, but Willem Dafoe is clearly memorable as he's delivering the performance of a lifetime in that movie. I just know he plays an FBI agent, and he is clearly having the most fun out of anybody in that cast. I mean, his character cross-dresses, he dances, and he reenacts crime scenes to a T, and that alone makes the movie a lot more memorable in my opinion. He's been going all in for his entire career, and you know another actor that does just the same? Nicolas Cage. Now, the quality of Nicolas Cage movies can definitely vary a lot more than Willem Dafoe's, but never doubt that Nicolas Cage isn't gonna give it his all. One of my favorite examples has to be Mandy from 2018. This movie kind of reignited his career, which is a good thing because he's fantastic in the role, but also it's Nicolas Cage fighting demons and being in chainsaw fights. This movie feels like something he was born to do, and you might notice a pattern that a lot of these performances are often in horror movies, and that makes complete sense to me. For a guy that will overact in just about any movie, you put him in a horror film and he's going to blow your fucking socks off. You will never go wrong by casting Nicolas Cage, but they really did the right choice here because it's almost his intensity alone that keeps this movie going. Mia Goth in Infinity Pool scares me. I think what makes her performance in this movie so good is how well it's built up to. She obviously just had her moment with the X trilogy, which she's great in, but I don't think she's nearly as unhinged as she is in Infinity Pool. Given that this is a body horror film and there's a lot of occult elements in it, Mia Goth gives it a ton of personality. Just like The Lighthouse, her role can make for a lot of really funny scenes, but it's also terrifying, especially when you know what's coming. She's great in the film, and say what you will about Infinity Pool, but Mia Goth takes it to the next level. So these have all been examples of actors understanding the assignment and having complete control of their characters. But what are some non-examples? Well, to start that off, one of the first performances that come to mind is Jared Leto in The House of Gucci. I mean, even on the poster alone, Jared Leto next to the other actors already feels so unserious. Jared Leto is known to be one of the method actors, so the fact that he's covered in all of this makeup and taking his role so seriously is kind of one of the highlights of the film. It's just so funny because this is based on a real person, but given the fact that Jared Leto is playing him with a ton of makeup, just makes him so cartoonish. It gives me like Mario, but if he discovered fentanyl. It is quite the performance, and this movie gave us one of the best cuts in cinematic history. Another non-example can be any John Travolta role in the last 20 years. John Travolta is a character in of himself, and the thing about the performances that I'm referencing, I have not seen any of those movies in their entirety. I feel like I don't need to, and everything I know about these performances have been against my own will. I've seen them all through clips like on YouTube, and he's really come a long way since films like Blowout. I'm not sure if I could sit through an entire John Travolta movie nowadays, but I'm always going to give credit to actors that go all in, and that's exactly what he does. But if there's any John Travolta fans out there and they have a really strong case on why I should watch films like Gotti, please, I would love to hear from you.
Listen to me, and listen to me good. You're never gonna see another guy like me if you live to be 5,000.
Now the next one I have to talk about isn't down to a specific actor. Instead, I have the entire cast of The Little Things, which Jared Leto's in it again. That's no surprise. Honestly, I don't really remember anything about this movie. I just remember every actor goes, it's all about the little things, and that's really all I need to throw it in this video.
It's the little things, Jimmy.
Tom Hanks in the Elvis movie is another one worth talking about. Honestly, I can't tell if this is a good one or a bad one. I can agree with arguments on either side. This is kind of another House of Gucci situation where his character feels overly cartoonish than the rest of the movie, but it is Tom Hanks and it is hard to imagine an actor like him not being in control, so I'm truly in a paradox with this one. He is extremely funny though. Alright, I'm going to talk about one more, and this is probably the best example of overacting in any movie because it is one of the best performances of all time, and that is Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. I talked a little bit about this performance in my last video, but I'm just going to reiterate again because I think this is brilliant character work. David Lynch obviously writes really bizarre characters, but I think it is Dennis Hopper the one that gives it a lot of depth and emotion. He's a completely unhinged gangster that delivers a lot of great lines, but what makes his character really special is that he's totally believable as this sad and desperate romantic that's willing to kill for love. As tough and scary as he can be, he also has a lot of moments of vulnerability and tenderness that shine through. His performance can be a silly one, and it can understandably make you laugh a lot, but this is a shining example of it being done correctly. His abilities are used to expand the character and make him more raw than anything. His performance doesn't dumb the character down or take you out of the film. Instead, you get a really unique character that feels human above anything else, and that's really the impressive thing about pulling off performances like this. Anyways, I've rambled on for long enough. I just really like silly performances. I like when they're done right, and I like when they're done wrong. I hope you've all enjoyed all the examples I've had to give, and if I can leave you on one last note, please go watch Mickey 17, the newest Bong Joon-ho movie. This whole video basically got spawned off Mark Ruffalo's performance, but the entire movie's great. Feel free to comment down below your favorite goof performance, and other than that, that's really it. Thank you for watching.
Listen to me, and listen to me good. You're never gonna see another guy like me if you live to be 5,000.